Today we're gonna shoot the last portion of this video, which involves inking the pen up, loading it with ink, and giving it a test run. We've blocked off all of the vent holes and the places where the ink could leak out from, and we've waited for the glue to cure, and preferably, as the manufacturer recommends, for 24 hours. And now it seems like the glue has set and it's not wet to the touch and not leaving fingerprints or anything of that sort. You do want to make double sure that this thing is waterproof by taking this underneath the faucet and dripping water inside the barrel up until the top, and then one or two more drops so that the water forms a bead above the rim. And then you watch it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, until you're satisfied that the bead is not leveling and the water level is not going down because of water leaking from either the sides or the bottom. So once you've made complete sure of that, let the water dry out, drain out the water, and make it ready for filling it up with ink. So I've already done that, and the ink is good, the barrel is good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime the feed here. The way I want to do this is drip a couple of drops of ink. I'm going to use diamine. I'm going to use diamine ancient copper ink. And what I'm going to do is drip a couple of drops in there, and I'm going to watch it work its way through the feed system. There's one drop. There's 2, 3. There you go. It's starting to work its way through. Shake it a little bit. It's gonna get a little bit messy, but this is the one sure way you know that the ink is making it through. And then you can might be a little bit of a waste of ink, but then you're not struggling with it later trying to get this ink to work. While that feed, there you go, ink is coming through the nib now. It's a beautiful brown color, ancient brown. I suggest you try it out. At least order a vial of diamine ancient brown from the Goulets and give it a shot, because it's a beautiful, oh sorry, the tissue paper is starting to suck up all the ink there. Now let's go ahead and put the silicone grease in there. Just get a slight bit of silicone grease, not a whole lot. This should be enough, because you want to just grease up the threads to where no ink leaks out of there, because you don't want it to leak out into your hands. You do this, by the way, for an eyedropper conversion on Kavekos as well, because they're not meant for eyedroppers, but you're making it into an eyedropper, so you have to, in some pens you have to do the O-ring. Here, silicone grease on the threads should be enough. Okay. I do want to mention that after you convert this to an eyedropper, don't use the cartridge converter anymore, because the reason for that is that the cartridge converter has these little stubs sticking out from the sides, and they're supposed to catch on to these little slots here. When you put it in, it catches on, the stubs catch on to the slots, and it keeps the cartridge converter in place. Well, when you do that here, this thing is going to scrape the insides of your glue, because the glue is not in line with the inner walls of the barrel. So if you put it in, and I tried this and you start screwing it on, you'll see the bits of glue start scraping off because it's running up against these stubs, which is not a good thing for your waterproofing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do the fun part, which is the drip ink inside the barrel, and start going to town with this pen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I've just put about 73 drops of ink inside here. Huge amount of ink. But I've stopped short of ink reaching up to the thread marks, the threads lining. It's a little easier to do this with the Lamy Vistas, which are transparent. You could also try this with the opaque ones. I have a Lamy Safari, which is a red colored Lamy Safari, and I'm thinking about converting that too, but I'd run into the challenge of not being able to see how far the ink is, and in that case I'll do exactly what I just did, which is to count the drops. Alright, let's put it in. It's starting to bubble up from the top because it's airtight and the air has to escape through the nib. Alright. It's belching ink at the top there. There you go. And this is the moment of truth where you invert it and you want to make sure no ink comes out. Alright, seems like it's done the job. Now let's go ahead and try it out. Oh! Try to whisk away some of this ink. Very beautiful 1.1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters italic nib in here. And it's writing quite nicely right now. The flow is quite nice. I do want to mention a couple of things here as we end this video, is that there are other alternatives for converting this to an eyedropper. You can get a barrel for the Lamy Vista Rollerball pen, and that barrel is slightly different than this pen. It doesn't have these windows on the side. It does still have the vent holes in the back, but you don't have to plug up the side windows, just only the back with the glue, with the sealant. And those things, the Lamy Vista Rollerball, the cheapest one I could find online was 16 bucks. If you go to lamyusa.com and look for spare parts for pens, the Lamy Vista Rollerball barrel, replacement barrel, costs 20 bucks. now I have 3 pens like this and I want to convert all of them over, and so I was looking at $60 worth of this stuff, and what would I do with the older barrel? And if I buy the entire pen, what would I do with the rest of the rollerball components? So I felt the best option is to do a little bit of creativity, a little bit of a fun project. The sealant itself cost me, as I mentioned, only $5, and I'm able to convert many pens using that. A little bit of a word about the flow. I'm not seeing any problems with the flow right now. The flow is quite decent, but if you see this pen skipping or not working and running dry and not giving you the ink color saturation that you're after, you have 2 or 3 different options. You could treat the ink with some surfactants. Surfactant meaning something that acts on the surface tension. Surfactants, a typical household example of a surfactant would be a dish soap, dish detergent, Palmolive or Dawn soap. You take your ink syringe and you dip it inside the dish soap, just enough to get very slight bit of soap onto the half a drop of soap on there. You dip inside and you shake it around, and the soap gets a chance to dissolve inside the ink, and then you'd be surprised how much wetter the ink writes after you do that. If you don't want to bother with messing up your ink and you're afraid that what it's going to do with the ink, you obviously want to do this in very small batches, because if you mix too much soap in there, then this thing is going to start dripping by its own. If you hold the pen like this, the ink is going to start dripping by itself down the bottom. The other option you have, and it's one that you can do anywhere, is that you have a large amount of air trapped inside the barrel. And then there's the ink, and then the outlet for the ink, which is through the nib. If you hold this in your hand like this and you blow warm air, warm breath on there to heat up the barrel, it's going to cause the ink, the air to expand, increase the pressure, push the ink through out to the nib. And lo and behold, this ink is too runny, because I'm seeing the drip here. I hope it's not because I don't know if you're getting it in the camera, but the audio, there's an alarm going on, and that's our Wednesday morning test alarms of if there's a chemical leak or refinery of any kind of emergency, these alarms would go off. I hope it doesn't drip anymore, because this thing could mess up the insides of your your cap if you do that. But normally I keep this pen pointed up like this whenever I'm putting it in my penvelope. In my penvelope, I place it like this, and you keep it vertical in my bag. All the pens are pointing upwards, so that ensures that you don't leak anything inside the barrel, inside the cap. So there you have it. This is my second Lamy that I've converted to an eyedropper. My third one is a red Lamy Vista, and I'm debating whether I should convert that also or I should leave it as is. But let's see, that'll be something I'll have to think about, because I have plenty of glue right now to embark on that last one. But there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, any doubts about how I did this, or any other tips or pointers, please email me or post comments on my YouTube video regarding this, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how it works out. Bye.